Hey guys, I hope your July 4th went extremely well. Beautiful weather, nice out right now. I'm looking forward to getting out of here and going home to play with the kids. Just wanted to update you on a bunch of things that were going on. The first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to include in the email the bell schedule for next year, and obviously it's going to be reflected a little bit on the changes for the early release day. So we start school at 8:15 on each day, and we will end at I think 1:55 during the days of earlier on Friday early release and 3:25 during traditional school days. So that's going to be a big difference. One factor there was all research shows that teenagers, if you start school before 8:30 is what the research says, you're probably fooling yourself on whether or not students are going to be engaged in the morning. So we kind of found a happy medium and tied it in with the early release. So I will send the bell schedule to you, and you'll be able to look at that a little bit. We have a building team MTSS meeting on Tuesday, and we could use a lot of help coming up with some of the specific reward systems that we're going to choose to do for the students, as well as setting grade level goals, building goals, in order to kind of inspire kids to shoot for something a little bit bigger. So we need brainstorming. You don't have to, worry about your previous knowledge or anything like that. We're just looking for lots of ideas. That is on Tuesday from 12 to 3 p.m. Next thing I was going to talk about a little bit was sharing some information that I received back from the staff on my survey that I gave you, as well as some of the students' survey information that they sent back to me. One thing I received from you guys was a lot of the interruptions this year, whether it be like the late announcements for assemblies, the PA things, were not something that everybody seemed comfortable with. So I have a couple ideas, and feel free to just respond to this with your thoughts, I guess, before we make up our mind. But I could do a text blast to all the students, letting them know practice was canceled, or remember if you're scheduled to go on the Coletta trip, or whatever the case might be. But I worry that might distract the students in your class a little bit when I send that out, but it's a quick way to get it to them. Another could be email. Again, not everybody is checking their student email constantly. I could send it to the teachers to announce to their class, but again, I don't want to totally stop you from teaching, but I'd probably be doing that anyways when I do the PA. And another thing, and this is my first priority, but it's kind of up to you guys, is to use our Google slideshow that we have streaming through the school. It'll be in the middle school, it'll be in the cafeteria, it'll be in the lobby next year, and then again to really stress to play that at the beginning of each hour while you're taking attendance in your class, especially at the beginning of the day and after lunch, is any changes would be uploaded on that, and we would keep it super focused on short announcements, not make it like pictures of things and stuff like that. Each person that's a leader of that club would change that stuff so it would be quickly updated and get to the students quickly. We can get messages to them very quickly. So just give me your thoughts on that. If you have another idea, I'd be glad to have that too. Just so many things come up during the day that we just need to get quick information out to people. That I don't want to interrupt the teaching and learning, but we got to figure out a way to get information to folks. Another thing, and I knew this was a challenge throughout the year, was my availability. I sent the analogy out about the, am I going to be a firefighter, a dentist, and how I'd had conversations with Jim and Terry, before I took this position, and trying to build it to be as successful as possible. But one area that I think I can do better is making myself more available to you. I can't promise it all the time, but one thing I did do is I built into my schedule already for next year, Mondays and Wednesdays from 7:30 to 8, and I put this in the survey about open office hours. So Monday and Wednesday I'm going to do AM, so like 7:30 to 8, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm going to do 3:30 to 4. So that will be automatic open office hours. I already extended invites for the heat check for each of you, so that is on your calendar for the rest of next year. Again, show up, don't show up, but it's a monthly meeting just to be able to come and vent, share out ideas, talk, just have a good time, however you decide to do it. All right, talk about a couple things. First, one of the things that came back on the teacher survey was a list of training, and I thought they were all really relevant, that you guys had asked for in terms of being most relevant to you. One of the first things was project-based learning. The second was formative assessment. The third was continued sprinkling of technology training. including Google Apps for Education and some other things. Pear Deck was something else that came up. And then another piece, which is kind of connected to a concern that some teachers had too, is how do we use phones in the classroom to support learning? So that's something I have on our training list, that as well as a lot of curriculum mapping. A lot of feedback was that, you know, we have these standards, but we haven't had time to pull apart these standards, to talk about it with faculty members, to work on pacing guides and even assessments, formative assessment, summative, to make just have those conversations to continue to improve things. So and then MTSS, and there was even a couple suggestions for some stages training, and it didn't seem like they wanted a ton of it, but you know, to sprinkle in some pieces of what those domains should look like in their classroom, and some pieces like that, which again, I thought those are all awesome answers, and I had left them on you know, my PD schedule for early release, as well as full days, to try to get a handle on coming back to a few of those big ones throughout the year, and not just be oh, here's your Google training in August, you know, sayonara, or here's a lesson on project-based learning or video, bye-bye, you know, and try to make it something that we come back to. So just things that came up. Trying to come up with a couple other things here. A few things that you guys talked about as well was, you know, too much focus on unmotivated students and not enough on some of our high achieving students, and you know, why are we not just focusing on the students that want to learn? And the trick is we got to do both, and you know, we can't totally devote every ounce of energy we have to the unmotivated students, but the reality is we got to get them to graduate. The other side of things is that we have to figure out how to continue to challenge our advanced students, and I think we're able to do that a little bit more this year with some of the expanded dual enrollment and some of the advanced classes we're able to offer. It's not perfect, but you know, that's something that we need to keep looking at and trying to figure out. One other suggestion was air conditioning in every classroom. Not 100% sure that could be doable, but you know, something to think about, I guess, as we move forward. A couple staff members mentioned a suggestion for the building was to add more clubs. The students also mentioned that they would like more clubs and things like that. If you have any interest in starting a club, middle schoolers seem to have interest in a student council-like club. You know, if you have any ideas for your high school, you know, a club-based activity that you would like to do, let me know. It does sound like I was talking to Mrs. Summers, and she said that there's a middle school robotics grant, so if somebody's interested in starting that, it's a pretty short season. I think it's 2 months, 2 or 3 months we thought at the most, and it would be, you know, it's not like it's not going to be work, but there's a stipend with it and some things like that the state offers. So just something to keep in the back of your mind, I guess, as you head into next year. Interesting thing with some students stuff, one of the first questions I asked them was, would you like to see the salad bar option brought back at lunch? And it was overwhelmingly 70% yes, so I'm working on that. Might only be a couple days a week, but you know, it would be something to touch on. Another thing was, I asked them, do you have enough help to pass your classes? And 80% of them thought that they did. So we're working on that a little bit right now, trying to just make sure that. Sorry about that. Hello. I believe so. I am filming a video right now. Can I call you right back? Okay. Sorry. A couple other questions was that they would like to see more after-school tutoring, like that to continue, but they really wanted the media center open from 7:30 to 8:15 before school. So that seems like something we might maybe focus more on. Let's see. Interesting stat was I asked them if they check their grades online. 60% said they do it weekly. 20% said they do it monthly, and then about 15% said they never do it. So that's something we got to help facilitate a little bit more and try to get some kids going that direction. Another thing I asked them, you could benefit from a tutor, emotional counselor, or a person checking in with me during the week to make sure I'm organized and on task. 50% of the kids out of a tutor or counselor, just somebody to check in and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I know that kind of seems like babying a little bit, but we talked about the adolescent brain and trying to work with some students through some challenges, and I think something to keep in mind in how we design next year and what that might look like. A couple other questions I asked them. Asked them about classes and what things they'd like to see differently. But you know, to the back, they had a lot of suggestions for me. Some of them were a little bit different. But I asked them, have they personally been insulted, harassed, or teased by other students? And 50% of them said they have been. So the next question I asked them was, students at my school go out of their way to treat others badly. And 13% of respondents said yes. 70% of them said it's a very small percentage of students. So we talked about active supervision and how important that is. I think that's how we start to stop some of the bullying and harassment and things like that, is making ourselves more present. And it's taking time away from us. And I like I said, we all know that that's going to be a challenge that we're going to face. But the suggestion that came up over and over and over and over in the students thing was they were tired of being treated poorly by fellow students. They were tired of being bullied. They were tired of being harassed. And I don't know another way to stop that other than for us to make even more of an effort to be present and engage with the kids while they're going. Not necessarily even engaging with each other, but trying to really be out and about with the students. We can't be there all the time, but that sure, stops a lot of the negative behavior if we can get out and about a little bit more. I asked them if they felt like they were treated fairly by adults in the building, and 50% said yes. 40% said sometimes, and only a few percent said no. So again, they feel like they're getting respect from us. Now it's time to teach them how to, get some respect from each other. So interesting information from the students. I got some good feedback from the staff. Like I said, I'm going to be continuing to try to tweak things I'm doing. So I want to know when you're not necessarily feeling good about stuff. I can't always promise to help, but or fix it in every example, but I'm going to do my best to listen. And I guess if you have any other questions and things like that during the summer, let me know. I'm sure everybody's wondering about the schedule. We're very close to having that ready to go. So probably next week I'll be emailing you with what your 1 through 7 hours look like, and we'll go from there. So, and again, if you want to come in next week to the brainstorming session for the rewards portion, we would love to have the help, because we want as much buy-in into this as possible, because we really believe it's going to be something really awesome for our building. So take care, have a good rest of your week, and hopefully we'll see some of you next week.